Hey everybody, it's Mr. Wagstaff. Cool stuff to talk about today. So today in our unit, it's Unit 8, Economic and Personal Finance. We're on critical consumerism. Today we're going to start talking about information that is available to you as a consumer in order to make the best possible financial decisions when spending your money. Let's go ahead and get started. So today we're going to talk about information that is available to consumers that help inform them when it is time to spend their money. So as you get out here now, if you're just trying to buy something at the grocery store, you don't need all this information. You basically buy what you need. But when you're looking for big ticket items, houses, cars, boats, if you're a boat person, these types of things, or where to invest your money, save for your child's college fund, these types of things that will present to you throughout life. How do you decide what to buy and where to invest as a consumer? So that's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to talk about, there's a lot of different reports, which is just the word we use for information that is available by law. By the government requires businesses to put out this information so that you can make the most informed decision possible. Let's start out by the first one, market research reports. Say you are looking at buying a car, all right? Well, you're trying to figure out, when should I buy a car? Is there a better time of year to buy a car? Even market research, I want to buy a plane ticket to fly somewhere else. Is there a better time of the week to buy a plane ticket? Are they cheaper at some points during the week than other ones? These are types of information that market research reports deal with because they focus very heavily on market trends. So when I say market, this isn't the economy as a whole. This is like one specific market. So if you're looking at automobile sales, all right, this is when you would like a market report to see like what is the general price of cars. Are they going up? Are they going down? When is the most expensive time of the month or the year to buy them? These are the type of things that you want. Say you want to buy an electric vehicle, and you're like, all right, let's see, how much do they cost? And you see that consistently year over year, they're getting more expensive. You might say, hey, I might need to go ahead and start, figuring out a way to purchase now because it looks like it might continuously keep getting more expensive. Or if you're like, wait a minute, I see that it's starting to taper off. It might come down. I might wait a couple years because they might actually be cheaper once the technology becomes more advanced. These are market trends that market reports can tell you about. So let me give you a specific, and this was me just looking for examples, and this one popped up, and I was like, this is great. Because I think I actually typed in, what's the landscape of general markets, and it gave me the global landscaping and gardening service market from 2021 to 2025. This is predictions. This is another thing that markets reports can do, is predict what is going to happen. Very influential. So there's a lot of information here. So landscaping and gardening service. Mowing yards, all right? So if you live in a neighborhood, and I live in a neighborhood, so I see these small companies with like a handful of guys show up in all these different yards and mowing the yards. Have you ever wondered, is there an industry for that? There clearly is. So much so that this industry is going to increase almost 6% consistently, incremental growth. So what does this mean? All right, from 2021 to 2025, and again, I'm recording this smack dab in the middle in 2023 for perspective on this. So I'm going to talk about the future. This hadn't happened yet. So what they're saying is that this market there's higher demand for it. There's more people going into the market. So here's how it could affect you. If you hire somebody that mows your yard, most likely it's going to start being more expensive. Also, if you're thinking about creating a landscape business yourself and you go invest in all the commercial mowers and trucks and all this other stuff, there is a market there and it's going to continue to grow, which you could fit in and have your own personal company. So the market reports do really, really good. Now, this does not tell you anything about how department stores are doing. Market reports deal with one specific industry, and this one, it is landscaping and gardening services. So the question is, what type of information can consumers obtain from market research reports? So pause me, answer that completely. We're moving on. All right, so let's talk about financial advice. And we've talked about this a bunch, but it bears repeating. So there's two main ways of getting information for personal finance advice. The first is an online platform. And there's a lot of free online platforms that you can go and get financial advice from. Like, hey, should I invest in this? Pros and cons of this and that. There's all types of free online financial software available. I just grabbed one here. I'm not even sure if this one's free or not. Personal Capital. You will also see on social media, there's always people who are like, hey, I make this amount of money. Here's how I manage it. Here's how I budget it. So this is all good information. And before I seem like I'm going to be negative on this, if you're actively trying to figure out how to budget your money and create a spending plan and a budget, awesome. Like, fantastic. I don't want to dump on that because going on online or anything like that is absolutely beneficial. The only downside is, all right, to the online stuff and going on, like this is on TikTok, of finding individual people, how they budget their money, that they can basically only give you anecdotal evidence. Basically, like these ladies here are given anecdotal evidence specifically that is associated with them and their personal experience, not macro experiences. On the websites, that's all they can give you is macro experience of like here's what consumers generally spend here or there. Those websites don't know you as a person. So they can't give you personalized advice for your individual needs because finances are very, very complicated. Sure, they're like, oh, you have this much money. Well, here's what you should do with it. They'll tell you that. What they don't know is what's your credit score? Do you have child support payments? Do you have student loans? Do you have extra income coming in from another side that you can't touch that's earmarked for something else? These are all things that are a lot of times too complex for websites. Now, sometimes these websites will be like, hey, for an extra fee, we'll connect you with an individual person that'll help you out. Fantastic, because what that is, that's a financial advisor. And this is the best way of getting clear and concise financial advice is from a financial advisor, somebody that you go and pay, and this is their entire job. And they have tons of people they work with that looks at your specific financial situation and lets you know how to proceed. You would be surprised to be like, man, I'll only make X amount of money a year. No way I could ever buy a house. You talk down to a financial advisor and they're like, wait a minute, like let's look at it this way. And those things can happen. But if you don't meet with a financial advisor, the chances of getting personalized advice are very, very slim from a licensed professional. So again, the benefit of a financial advisor over a financial website is that financial advisors can provide like personalized financial information to you as a person. Financial websites can't. However, in the grand scheme of things, I want to reiterate this because obviously if you had choice like pick A or B, financial website or financial planner, pick the financial planner if it was all the same. Sometimes you just don't have the budget to get to a financial planner. If you're using free financial websites to plan it, that is astronomically better than just being like, I don't know what happens. We'll see what happens at the end of the month if I run out of money or not. That's the worst case scenario. So while financial planners are more personalized than a free financial website, having any attempt to do that is astronomically better than not. So the question here is, what is the potential disadvantage of using a personal finance website over a financial advisor? So pause me, answer that completely. We're moving on. All right. So let's talk about more reports and information that you have available to you when deciding where to spend and invest your money. Let's start with annual reports. So an annual report, a document that public corporations must provide annually to shareholders to describe their operations and financial conditions. If that makes sense to you, fantastic. If it doesn't, it's a report card that companies who sell stock, a lot of these really big companies, they have to sell stock and they have to give out these annual reports to their shareholders. And as soon as they give it out to the shareholders, it usually ends up being pretty easily to find to all the people that aren't shareholders. This is a report card of a company, while a market report talks about an entire industry. And I'm getting ready to talk about Coca-Cola here. Actually, let me go ahead and bring that up. This is, I found this online that I typed in, give me the annual report to Coca-Cola. And boom, it popped up. It's 194 pages long. What this does is talks about what Coca-Cola took their money, where they invested in, why they did it, like where they're growing, all the information you could possibly want to know about Coca-Cola over the last year. The reason this is important is this allows you to, if you're really into wanting to know what you're investing in, to wanting to know where Coca-Cola is going. If you're an investor in this company, you're a part owner. Even if it's like a little smidge of an owner, that they want to give you all of their report cards so you can know how they're doing. You can also find this before you invest in companies and see if, do you agree with how they're investing their money moving forward. I grabbed Coca-Cola because Coca-Cola is usually pretty solid here. So it's a pretty easy one to look at as a company who has historically done it right. However, past performance does not guarantee future gains. That's a little personal finance word. Just because they've always been successful, it doesn't guarantee they're going to be successful in the future. Anywho, so this is an annual report. If this was a market report, this would be something that like a third party would create over how Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Cheerwine, which is a North Carolina company, how all of these soda companies collectively have done over a certain period of time. That's a market report in like the soda industry. An annual report is from a single company, in this case, Coca-Cola. All right. So annual report lets you know everything that's happening inside that specific company. So if we go even smaller, so when we talk about market report, that's entire industry. Talk about an annual report, that's an entire company. And then credit reports. Now, we talked about credit reports in the last unit on credit and debt, which is basically your credit score. How good is your credit worthiness, all right? And if you get a credit score here and you're like, wait, I thought this was about consumers and why are we talking about credit reports? This is about me. It's also about everybody else. Say that you have an investment because you bought a rental property, all right? And you want to rent it out and you want to be a landlord. Like you've decided to do this, all right? Or you work for a company that has apartment complexes and you have to rent it out to people. You want to make sure you get people in these apartments or your rental houses that pay their bills on time. That's all it is. You're not trying to look for anything crazy. You want somebody that's going to pay the rent. Like, duh, of course you would. You do that by looking at their credit reports, all right? So and they have to give you permission to do this. You can't just look up somebody else's credit report. They have to like sign a thing saying, yes, you can go look at my credit report. Then you can look at their credit report and make a determination over, is this person good enough with their debt that you can feel pretty confident that they will pay the rent. So that's why credit reports are here as a consumer, all right? If you're looking for investment and information for investments, credit reports of people, especially if you're going to be providing them a service as part of your livelihood, and that's where you're spending your money with your investments, credit reports is also necessary in order to make good on your investments. So the question here is, what is the main purpose of annual reports for consumers? So pause me, answer that completely. We're moving on. All right, so jump around here just a little bit, but this one shouldn't be difficult because I would hope you're already doing this. When it is time to buy something, one of the things, the information that is available to you to make a good decision is customer reviews, all right? So if you're like Amazon, you go to Amazon to buy something, look at the customer reviews. Now, sometimes you got to take it with a grain of salt. If someone's like, it's 3 out of 5 like reviews, a lot of times like, I bet it's trash. Go read the reviews first. I bought, and I'm just thinking about this off the top of my head. So I wanted to buy some super glue, little individual things of super glue, because I open up a big thing of super glue, I use it once, wait a couple months, and it's all dried. So I remember going to buy these little things of super glue, and it got like 2 out of 5 stars. And I was like, it's super glue. Is it not super gluey? And all the reviews say that the container it comes in is impossible to get access to. 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, 1 star. And it was 5 stars and 1 stars, because the 5-star reviews are like, it works fantastic. What are y'all talking about? And it actually took somebody on Amazon, had to record a video. They're like, all right. So the case actually did open really weird. Instead of, there's this plastic case and it like slid off. I've never seen the case open up like this. Other people couldn't get into their case, and they gave it a 1 star, not because of the glue, but because of the case, because they couldn't figure it out. And then somebody had a little video like, here's how you open it. And I was like, cool. And I bought it, and I tell you what, if it weren't for that video, I would have not figured it out myself. So I'm not going to throw shade at that. But customer reviews are really important. If it wasn't for those customer reviews, all right, I probably would have been stuck with a product that I couldn't use because I couldn't get into it. Because of the customer reviews, I saw that a lot of other people were also would have struggled with the same thing I am. And also because of the customer reviews, I realized that there was no fault with the product. It just opened weird. And I guess they didn't give good instructions. But you can tell a lot by customer reviews. If somebody's like, seems like a deal that's too good to be true and it's all got 1 and 2 stars and they're like, didn't arrive, wrong size, didn't fit. That's pretty accurate because these are actual real people giving their real experiences with it. If it's 5 stars, hooray, meets expectations. There's also got to keep in mind, and this is a newer thing, if it's got 700 5-star reviews and 2 4-star reviews and no 3, 2, and 1 reviews, probably a bunch of bots. Take it with a grain of salt. So that there's always going to be somebody with a problem. Also, generally speaking, if you purchase something and it meets your expectations, give it 5-star reviews. I know people are like, you know what, 4 stars is what I give. 5 stars if it exceeds expectations. But when you're looking, you don't think that. You're like, no, I'm good with 4 stars. That means it meets the expectations. You want those 5-star reviews. So you can't like give different reviews than what your expectations are when you purchase. Customer reviews are very important to making economic decisions and how you spend your money. So another one, all right, another report that you have are economic reports. So we had talked about market reports, which is a whole industry. All right, we talked like electric vehicles. That was our example. Then we talked about annual reports. Annual reports is like a single company, like Coca-Cola. All right. Then we talked about credit reports. It's like a single person. So let's go to the whole other extreme, economic reports. Economic reports are the entire economy as a whole. Is it going up? Is it going down? This is important for a lot of investments, especially if you're selling to the public. If you're wanting to open a business that sells to the public, now you're going to look at your market reports, all right, for that whole industry. And you might look at your annual reports of your future competition. But if you see that inflation is going up and consumer spending overall across all markets is going down, you need to keep that in your mind that when you open up, you might not be hitting the same amount of money as you would 5 years ago when consumer spending was higher. So economic reports are very, very important in looking at the economy as an entire whole when making decisions on what to invest in and what to purchase. So the question here is, what is a benefit of reading consumer reviews when making financial decisions? So pause me, answer that completely. We're moving on. All right, so social media is a wildly important source for consumer information. So social media reviews, how people felt about it, all right? And I'll tell you what, and this is a little bit of dad advice from Mr. Wagstaff to you. If you don't know how to do something, or if you're concerned like, hey, I'm about to make this big ticket purchase. I'll tell you an example. Yesterday I used an example of a chair I bought from Secret Lab. They're not cheap chairs. They're supposed to last forever. They're like made out of steel, but it costs more than like every chair I'd purchased before combined. And I was like, is it really that good? And so what I did is I went to YouTube and watched people give reviews of the chair, because it's not just a written thing. It's a real person. You can see it in their house, how they dealt with it, and the reviews were stellar across the board. All right, and I decided to purchase it, and it was exactly what I saw in the YouTube video. It has exceeded expectations. Been very happy with it. I'm a large guy. I sit for a long period of time. Doesn't hurt my back. So look at me giving them unsolicited advice here, but. Secret Lab is a good company. It's expensive, but I can't imagine ever breaking it. It's like made out of steel. And anywho, So, another thing of dad advice, if you can't figure out how to do something, like, hey, my headlight's out in my car. Oh, I guess I gotta take it to a mechanic. Just go to YouTube. Clickety-click, how to change a headlight, and then enter your car, and you will be shocked. Somebody will have made a video on how to do it. That's actually what happened to me. And then I realized, because I know stuff about like fixing houses and stuff, but cars, not really. And I thought I had to take my car somewhere to get a headlight changed, and I didn't. I just had to go to YouTube, and they showed me how to do it. It cost me like $5, or not $5, whatever the cost of a headlight is. Maybe it's $5. Can't remember. And anywho, super easy. YouTube is a fantastic place of reviews. And when I say reviews, they take products that you're interested in buying. Like this is makeup here. I guess this random picture I got. But say you want to buy some new type of electronics. You want to buy a new grill. You want to buy a new phone. You want to buy literally anything that you can think of. Somebody somewhere on YouTube has already gotten that product and has done an entire review over it, and you can see it in real time outside the corporations. There's nobody from that company looking at it, and they can give you their honest opinion of it. And so social media, in this case almost specifically YouTube, does a fantastic job of providing you with consumer information over the pros and cons of these different products. So the question here is, what type of information can consumers find on social media about different products and services? So pause me. I answered that completely, but that's what I got for you guys today. And I'll see y'all tomorrow.